All right, it is 7 o'clock, so we can call this meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda, as always, is approval of the consent agenda items. On the minutes, I believe Marcia's name was butchered under attending on both sides, so I'm gonna assume we would like that. to be
It's not
fixed.
Marseille or whatever.
Did
I was not here.
Marseille, it sounds,
I didn't think that was real, I wasn't throwing it into the bus.
No,
I assumed it was a
you can
typo by
throw
the
me under-
stenographer.
No, that's me,
Maybe that was.
oh man, I wasn't even
It's not, I'm
close.
not even Rogers either.
What was I trying to do there?
Well, we had, the thing is we have.
it's like you combined Monica and Marcia's.
We
names.
have two,
Combine
we have
Monica
two
and Marcia.
Taylors, and you thought we had two Rogers, that's an easy.
Yeah, but he
mistake.
misspelled my first name.
Oh, I know. I'm on
And the funny thing is, this is why you should never be the editor of things you write. I looked at them and was like, yeah, they're perfect. And by the way, kudos in all sincerity, kudos to Monica. She was able to give me an outline to work with that. And I hope yes, that did come through on the back page. She deserves credit for the correct parts of the minutes. The typo is all me.
I'm just harassing you a little, you do a great job.
That's okay,
It's very
fine.
lovely. man.
I'm just looking out for Marcia, making sure she's proper.
Markai, you mean?
Also, my name is misspelled.
Oh,
in the
oh,
attending. Yeah, I and then
It's
an E,
Christine, 10, not 10.
10, yeah.
Jeez, I know, man.
And then I was not here at that meeting.
Okay.
And she's listed as attending.
Okay.
I did not think this was gonna spiral.
That's all right. Hey, you know what? As you know, coming from the journalism world, there is accurate and there is not.
Yeah.
All right, so. um,
I don't know, I don't care, I just didn't know if it mattered.
Okay, so with those corrections to attending, does anybody see any other issues with either the meeting agenda, the minutes, or the statistics and financial?
I went through the statistics and financial and didn't see anything in it, so. The statistics, I have to say, though, I'm glad to see we're beginning to get a decent comparison between 22 and 23. Finally,
Oh, yeah,
it's getting better in every
Yeah.
month we add.
it is. And I think by the end of the year, we might even be approaching pre-COVID numbers,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, that's
exciting. Our summer reading is certainly, we're up to pre-COVID numbers.
I'll make a motion that we accept the
Second.
approval consent.
With the 3 tweaks to attending,
Yes. Yes.
everybody in favor?
Who was the second? Marcia?
Markai.
Next up is comments from observers. I do not see any here. Do we have any online?
No, and I've been told that that was a COVID era thing, having emails and getting emails and phone calls being entered into the record as citizen comments was only supposed to happen during COVID, so
I didn't even
that
know
no longer,
I didn't know we were doing that.
we were for a while,
Okay.
yeah, we never really caught anything, but, and no, there's nobody online.
Okay. Then we will move on to comments from the Friends of the Library and Susan.
Yes, I do have some things to talk about. Friends are doing really well. We're working really hard. We're loving every minute of it. A plus that recently happened is we were in Sil McKibben's estate. We were given something from that, so that was generous and kind of them. And I've also been working really hard on advocacy. I'm pretty much an advocate of the library just because I live and breathe. But then when I became part of the Friends, I also became an advocate with the Friends. So I know I gave you these numbers verbally. I don't think I gave you the papers though. So I'm just gonna pass these out. So that you see what's going on in 2023. Something that is not included here is the additional 19,646 that we contributed for the 24/7. So when you look at this, you can see that we don't have any slackers in our group. We are working hard all the time.
Um,
And it's, how we're able to fund this is from book selling, online and in-house, and various fundraising things. And, also membership goes into our pot of operating money. So about 6 weeks ago, I made up my mind I was going to advocate in high gear for membership. And I thought, I'm gonna talk to 10 people every day about the Friends. And then I realized some days I don't talk to 10 people. So that's not gonna be a good plan. But then I thought, well, okay, just open it up. And I've been to meetings that I'm just part of, and I ask everybody there, are you a friend? Are you a friend? I don't expect people to raise their hand. I don't expect anything other than just that they look at me and they know I'm reminding them of the value that the Friends brings to the library, but also the value it brings to the community. So if you are a member, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If you're not a member, and it's easy to become a member, it's a donation of $15 or more. And then you're on the Friends list. I have had people who volunteer out there say, please check with COVID. I don't know if I can, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I say, well, I will check and let you know. So, so I'm asking, like I said, everywhere. If you're not a friend, please consider becoming a friend. If you are a friend, thank you very much. If you look at Friends and you think, there's something about Friends that makes me not want to contribute, let me know that too, because goodness, if there's something that could be better, we would definitely want to make it better. So that's the deal. That's all I have to say.
Do you want to mention that you have a new board member?
Oh, gosh, that was so long ago. Yes, we do have a new board member, Laurie Garvey, who's about 11 and she's lived for all of her life. She's
L-O-R-I.
Laurie, and Garvey is Garvey, I believe. Since I've been part of the Friends, we have sent out emails to the community and asked, would you like to have a Friends? Would you like to join the Friends? And it's generally been no response. This year when I reached out, there were 3 people that said yes, and she was one of the 3. And I can't remember what put her ahead of the others, but she's just bringing more to the group than, it's more of what we need in the Friends board. That's, I guess, the best way to put it, because the other people were lovely, wonderful people, but she brings more of what we are currently needing. And she
has some computer tech skills, right?
Right. If you talk to her in computer talk, she understands what you're saying. Jeremy was showing her some things and she was having a real conversation with Jeremy on Jeremy's conversational computer level. And so
I can't even do that much.
that's really what we need, because I would say probably none of, well, no, people on the board, there's probably others that are equally capable. They just don't have the time to be here.
2 of them have very
and
busy
do it.
jobs
Yes.
and young children. and
Yes.
It
Yes.
makes it
So,
difficult.
She has a job, she's able to work from home. She's able to be flexible to the point where, she can come up here, or I got an email from her the other day. She said, I'd like to get together just to ask some more questions. What looks good? So, she is an asset and will continue to be that. And I think now I'm done. I don't know. Anybody have any questions about the Friends?
Just a comment. I think somehow either you need to summarize this, or Robin somehow this needs to get out and send to Keith, and maybe they'll send it out.
Oh, yeah, I can send it to Keith McGill.
Yeah.
I think what's missing from it though is where they get their funds. I think it needs to be attached saying that the money from this comes from the garden sale and the book sale, garden tour and the book sale.
Garden tour money doesn't go here.
Okay,
Garden
well
tour goes directly to the library, but our plans, but more accurate of where this is coming from.
Where this is coming from.
Yeah. This goes out to, the Friends membership. It goes out, that's all I can say for sure that it goes to, and it's included in the newsletter, which again is.
Friends membership.
As a friend, Keith should have gotten it, but we can send him an official copy if you
I
want to,
think
like,
you should.
that part at the bottom that says about the concert, you can maybe change it
Oh,
there,
yeah,
just to
in fact,
say,
I'm gonna change it in the month of October, no, not October, too far, August. The library has concerts in the courtyard, and because I am in this highly advocacy mode, and in the past, before COVID, if there was something going on here that that we were underwriting, we would be invited, David would come, I would come, whomever else, and we had like a minute and a half, and we would just welcome people, this is, you know, we're here because we're friends, this is what we're doing. And so for the 4 or 5 concerts in the courtyard, I am going to retype the first paragraph, Robin, and the last. Because the first, thank you for joining us for this evening. I want to say, thank you for coming to the, you know, the concerts in the courtyard. I want to personalize it. And generally, when I put this together at the beginning, as soon as we get the wish list, as soon as we write the check for the wish list, rather, I just don't make it pretty. I have typed it, you know, it's black and white. But, and then I can just go into my computer and just change the words. It's nice to see you at the plan sale. Thank you for supporting us. It's nice, it's good to see you here at the library today. Blah, 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 blah. I tune it to whatever we're doing. But yes, the plan is for me to do that.
But I think the
Probably
important,
tomorrow.
the important part is however, either a list or the commission has to be made
Yeah.
to realize how much money they are not giving us,
Well,
that the
that's
friends
my
are
point.
giving us.
yes.
And that's why we need to, in this version or something you want
Yes,
to
right,
update,
and
something,
yeah.
it needs to get to them.
I will get the new paragraphs to MA tomorrow and have her just change them. Because that would be more current. And then do you want me, or your note will say,
I think what I'll do is add it to the, it's like all online now, but the packet for the budget for
That's fine,
in
too.
September.
That's good too.
I mean,
So-
actually, this could go like it is to the commission. But it is going to be changed because it has to be current.
Yeah, I think it's something that you could make general and then you wouldn't have to be changing it all the time and just just change it once a year, you know, with the new numbers. But
yeah. There's a
Up
piece
to you.
of me that likes to make, it feel like, you know, like, oh, I'm so happy you're shopping here today. I mean, it's, probably I could make it a lot easier and just make it more generic. But I kind
So-
of like this.
I just want to clarify, this is the wish list, the 2023 wish list that you have here, or is this something that has already, this is what you've already fulfilled? I just,
We've already fulfilled it. We get a wish list at the January meeting. And then the board talks about it. We ask any questions we have. We think about it. We do whatever all we have to do. And then it's approved. And then we write the
Oh.
check.
so this is what you have given in 2023? I was just confused because it says this is a wish list, but then it says it's already approved. I just, you have fulfilled this wish list in these following ways is what this is. Okay, got it. Thank you.
the wish list, every year it changes. This is the basics right here. But we have added special things like the book, bike and cart. That was a wish list item for a couple of years ago that we were given the funds for. So things like that. They've purchased laptops for us. All kinds of stuff. We paid for training, go to conferences.
Yeah, I think some furniture, maybe.
Yeah,
office
furniture. Office furniture for Jeremy and Sharon, right? Yeah, all kinds of things.
Susan, I thought I heard you say at the beginning, there was a gift from a family. I didn't catch the family's.
Oh, it was Sil McKibben, David and Sil McKibben. David died in 21 and Sil just died last year.
CIL.
CIL, Cecilia.
Okay,
The obituary by the elevator, the framed obituary.
okay,
Is
I'll catch
David.
it, I'll catch it up there, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
that it, Susan?
yes.
Okay, Great. It doesn't appear our commission liaison is present either, correct?
No, I would like to say on behalf of the municipality that we are, and no comments, please, we are having the uptown, uptown party on Saturday, August 5th from 12 to 5 to celebrate the end of the sidewalk project. They're gonna close off the street. There's gonna be live music all day and, you know, all the restaurants are gonna have outside pop-up booths and serve alcohol, and there are gonna be all kinds of games and fun stuff to do, so.
Are the merchants on the street also taking part other than the restaurants? Are they doing anything special?
Most of them are, and they have all been strongly encouraged to. Some of them are not as excited about this as others. This is a recorded meeting. Go to a commission meeting and you'll hear. It's been a long 2 years.
Been on
Oh, it
for
has
2
been.
years.
And again, I'm here just to be here on the talk.
Okay, at you, no.
Quickly moving on from the surprisingly contentious commission liaison line item, when we didn't have a commission liaison present, we will go to the president's report. The only thing I have this month is, I know we're gonna get the garden tour recap coming up. And I wanted to say thank you for everyone who helped out with the garden tour, but I'm on those email chains. So I specifically want to thank Anthony, who I know did a lot of work organizing and cheerleading and running that show. And then I also wanted to personally thank Holiday, who I know swooped in at the end to get some volunteers that we dressed in. So thanks to anyone who helped, but especially thanks to you. And that is all I have. So we can move on to Rob.
Okay, there's a lot going on. I'll try not to belabor the point for any of these. As far as the director's report goes, I'm obviously not going to read. We've been very, very busy. Summer reading has been just going gangbusters. If you've been upstairs if you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to sign up for summer reading and report those numbers to the state. So every little bit helps. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to participate, but we do submit the registration and also, I think it's I can't remember if it's the completion or if it's the hours, it's some other number, but the registration number is the one I'm really focusing on. So if you can do that, that would be great. Let's see, the 24/7 holds lockers, I'm sure you've noticed, are in upstairs. They are functional. They're getting a lot of use. This Friday, they were nearly all filled except for 5 or 6 of them. And they were nearly empty by Monday morning,
Do
so.
you have to have a library card? I mean, I know you have a library card, but you have to have a card.
Or you can, if you know your number, you can,
Okay.
it's just like, it's the exact same computer screen as the self-checkouts.
Okay,
So,
because my card has been missing for years, but I know my number.
right, and you don't want a new one because you'd have to get a new number.
Right.
Yes, understood. So yeah, give it a try if you haven't already. It's just, it's in the computer system, it's considered like a branch. So instead of Mount Lebanon Public Library, if you pick Mount Lebanon Outdoor Lockers and your hold will be sent there. It's not necessarily gonna be faster, but I did it once or twice just to see how it works and make sure I knew, and it's pretty neat. So thank you to the Friends for providing the bulk of the money for that. We are currently in the process of hiring 2 librarian positions due to Lori Schultz, her retirement, August 11th. She has been a reference librarian for 20 years here at the library. So we are hiring a full-time adult librarian to fill her position, and then we also have the funds for an additional part-time children's position, which is desperately needed. They are run off their feet and they want to do more outreach to preschools and things like that, and maybe some weekend story times and just additional stuff that we're just currently not able to do. So they're going to be working on that. And we hope to have them in place by the beginning of the school year. We're interviewing right now for both. We've been attending a lot of community events on the book, bike, and cart. So if you see me riding around town or pushing the bike uphill, which is more frequent. We've been going to First Friday events, to Relay for Life, we'll be at the farmer's market tomorrow. I was at the 4th of July event all day, that was fun. We've been just all over the place. And the friends purchased that for us too, so thank you very much. And the final thing on my director's report, not the ACWA update, is that the Keystone grant cycle is starting again. These are state administered grant funds through the Office of Commonwealth Libraries. They are capital improvement funds, and they are done in partnership with the municipality. So right now, it's early days. We're still figuring out what we want to put on the grant. We last received the grant in 2019, and you're able to apply again after 5 years. So we are, last time we got our HVAC, part of the HVAC system paid for, the staircase, the covering on the staircases, the key fobs, the electronic access on the doors, things like that. This time we're looking at renovating all the bathrooms because they are not only not attractive, but they are not up to current ADA standards. So we'll be working on that. We're probably also going to get the concrete all around the building, sidewalks, patios, entryways replaced. That was voted on in the last municipal commission meeting to use the unassigned fund balance, part of it for that. But Public Works doesn't think they'll be able to actually have it done this year anyway. So we'll probably just put it in the Keystone grant request. And we'll probably put some other things in there too. We are going to be starting work on renovating, not renovating, red-upping the children's room due to a bequest we received from the Helene Bush Trust. And we may be able to put some of the improvements into the Keystone grant using that money we received from the trust as the collateral. So we might be able to potentially double what we have to spend on the children's room. So we'll see. Like I said, early days. I'll know more by the September meeting and be able to tell you what we're planning. Okay, as far as the ACLA, RAD, and ENAC, we, let's see. Oh, note from Marina, please ask board members to sign up for ENAC newsletters or give their okay for me to add them. So if you are not on the e-newsletter list, she wrote down the name, but I'm not going to call you out. So please let me know if we can just add you to the e-newsletter list. Just general weekly emails about what's going on at the library.
If it's me, I just did it the other day.
That's not you. Okay, let's see. The ACLA, okay, so we just had a general membership meeting on June 29th. And there was a lot of talk about challenges, book challenges. Amy Anderson, the new CEO, did a kind of a presentation about how to handle a book challenge if one comes to your library, how staff should act, that kind of thing.
So it's like a banned book. Okay, I figured that's what
I thought you meant
Yes.
how many books did you read?
No, yeah, materials, request for reconsideration and that kind of thing. So let's see, we talked about that.
Have
ACLA,
there been many in the county of any note?
not compared to other areas. I know there's been some trouble at some of the libraries, but like Penn Hills, Moon has been having a lot of trouble with their. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on all over. We've been very lucky so far. So let's see what else. Amy undertook board retreat training, so she's learning to facilitate board retreats, and she will be able to start leading retreats for county libraries starting in the fall. They talked about the transformative libraries grants, which are grants through the Regional Asset District for distressed communities. They had a clean audit. ACLA is starting the strategic priorities process. So updating their strategic plan. Let's see. I'm gonna skip a lot of this because it's not very interesting. The county catalog, the new catalog has been launched. So if you haven't been on our website lately, take a look at it. I've got it up. I can share it if you want, but it's there are a lot of book lists and things, and it's pretty intuitive and easy to use. So let's see. We talked about the e-resources funding, and the vote was for funding to 90% of the cap, which is overall a 2% increase from last year, which is not very much, but it's been going up and up and up by leaps and bounds. So we were conservative with that, with the request that any library whose 90% this year is less or equal to last year, pay at last year's level if they still can. And that is the case for us. So I'm gonna recommend that we pay what we paid last year, just to kind of bridge the gap between the 90% and the 100%. The Regional Asset District request from ACLA is going to be a 5.24% increase overall. That's requesting a 4% increase to libraries, a 4% increase to bookmobiles. I can never say that word right. $100,000 towards the administrative bookkeeping shared service. And that also covers the social workers in the libraries program. They're trying to, right now it's completely grant funded, and they're trying to stabilize that funding for that program. Let's see. I think that's all I have for that. Oh, the last thing was, I'll pass this around. I only have one copy. There's a library road trip. And Monica, I will forward you this email so that you have it, but they're just, it's just like a fun thing. Carnegie Library does something similar, the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, where if you visit all the branches, then you know you have like a passport and you check it off, and I think you get prizes or something. So they're doing something similar with the county libraries. There are passports upstairs at the reference desk, and you can, for every library you visit, you just get a little stamp, and just a fun thing. So that's all I have for that.
For your entire report or for that?
For the director's report portion.
Okay. So what you're telling me is we can move on to committee reports,
We can.
which there's lots.
Can I ask about the task boards? How long is that program going on? Is that throughout the year, or I just think that's so fun.
Yeah, I will send you the email. I'm not sure. Susan has the paper right now. Is there a
Oh,
deadline?
okay.
It goes through the end of
Beginning and
summer.
end. You can start on July 17th, ongoing indefinitely.
There you go. Ongoing indefinitely.
Thank you. Save me a passport for when I'm back in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so now we can move on to committee reports, and I guess we'll go in order as they are presented on the agenda, and we would start with the finance committee.
Okay, I will pass out. I'm passing out 2 copies. I'm passing out last year's, which is the one with the red. And I will take pictures and send these to you, Monica. And then I'm passing out this year's. We still do not have numbers from the municipality as far as the staff line, which is the bulk of the budget. Andrew says there's going to be at least a 3% increase to staff cost of living. The e-resources, as I said, is roughly the same. The RAD formula, we've submitted an initial draft to RAD, which they may or may not decide to accept. If they do, even with a 0% increase, it would be $90,000 more for us, just based on the formula changing.
How much?
90,000, that's with a 0% increase. I personally can't see the regional asset district approving such,
I don't think so.
once they look at my name and, or look at our library's name and see a big number in the plus, they're not going to be into that, but that's my opinion. So I imagine, like last year, we will have to go back to the drawing board and do it all over again and be working on it into September like we did last time. But so far, we haven't heard back from them.
So that's something that needs readdressed every year.
No, it's something that has been readdressed the last couple of
It
years.
doesn't need to be, but
No,
it's.
it doesn't.
It's a matter of opinion.
I was asking because I feel like we just went through this.
We did.
We did.
Did you hear the sigh in her voice?
It's a lot. It's just a lot. And I'm the chair of the committee, so I'm always involved, which I want to be involved. But,
Okay, so this is marked as an action item.
typically, we have voted. There are no numbers to vote on. You're just voting on the language, basically.
Which is the same with level 5 with Becky.
Yeah, well, and when you look at the budget last year, Andrew didn't put it in the way we voted. He separated out the resources appropriation. So that's why I just did it for this year. I just separated it out.
I move we accept the 2024 service level
Just
draft.
give 1 minute. I'm still texting it to Monica. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I can't vote until I can see it, but I think I see Robin trying to, oh, there we go. Thank you.
Did you get it? Does anybody want to look at the manager's recommended budget from last year? This is the official language that was submitted last year. I have it here if you want it, if not.
Robin, this is a 2-page, am I right?
The first page is 2023, that's got the red square on it. And the second page is what we're voting on. So anyway, Allison ran some preliminary numbers. And with the additional funding from Brad, which we did it, that was exciting. It would be just a 1.4% increase at 1 million. That is a very preliminary number. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on in September, so I didn't want to put any numbers. I'm hoping that we hear something very soon, because otherwise we're not gonna have time to work on it, change it, or they vote on their budget in September. So they've got to tell us. But they, last year, were not very respectful of any time or out of time.
Okay, we do have a motion. Marcia, I will second. Anyone else need time to do a vote?
Just voting on the language that we're gonna.
I'm sorry, I lost sound. Are we voting?
We did vote, but
Oh.
we're waiting for your vote too, Monica, so.
Oh,
you
okay.
you okay
Yes,
with
I'm okay with,
this?
yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Bob with the motion and Marcia with the second.
Reverse.
Other way around.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, and we can go to the fundraising committee with the Carter tour recap.
Okay, I do have papers. I'm gonna let Anthony talk about
Sure. Oh, yeah.
it, but
We should have gone Anthony's before.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Whatever credit I deserve, make sure that Marina gets a lot of kudos, Robin gets kudos, Holiday gets kudos, our volunteers get kudos. About the only thing that went wrong that day was that we ran out of the booklets. And I think the reason was the morning of the garden tour, there was a story in the Post-Gazette. And it mentioned one of the houses, and I forget the address off the top of my head. And I think what that did was cause people to go there first, thinking that it might have been the only one. And so when I got there at maybe 11:30, the books were already gone. That was the only negative to the day.
it happens every year. There's always one
There's always
house that
one.
runs out of books.
But, in terms of, the weather cooperated with us. It was a gorgeous day, just a gorgeous day. One volunteer, one husband and wife volunteer team had to stick around a little later than expected because their replacements were late. But outside of those two things, a tremendously successful day. And, we complimented Holiday earlier, but I think all of you know that about 2-ish weeks before, there were probably 10 slots on the volunteer grid that were open. And I don't know if it was bribery, blackmail, I don't know what she had on all these people. But what was funny was I get emails from Holiday and it would be like, Susie Smith, her email address here is volunteering for the, it wasn't even like from the person, it was just, Holiday says kind of thing. I somewhat jokingly, but seriously, nominate Holiday to be my volunteer co-coordinator next year. Because she knows people, let me tell you. But again, all kidding aside, a really successful day in terms of events. Marina did share, and this is also on page 2 of Robin's June report, the numbers that came in for the garden tour. And you'll see the way she broke it down was the past 5 years, not counting 2021, obviously. Because things didn't quite go normal then. But the one thing that is a concern is that the ad sales number remains down, and the raffle basket sales numbers remain a little bit down in comparison to even 2022, but certainly in years past. Individual donations were quite strong. Ticket sales, obviously, based on that figure, were better than 100% improvement from last year.
Well, part of that is we did raise the price this year.
Mhm.
So that we probably sold a little bit fewer tickets than we normally would, but it worked out, so.
But it worked out. So overall, the budget number there is roughly 19.7, and which is an improvement from 2022. But again, if you look back at the 3 years pre-COVID, those numbers are down. So that's something that we'll all want to discuss in a little more depth as calendar year 24, or when calendar year 24 arrives and we start planning. So
We have already had a couple of people express interest in having their gardens on the tour.
oh, nice.
So that's always the biggest, scariest challenge. So, and start, when you're taking your walk around the neighborhood, start writing down house numbers, because Marina's like a bulldog. She will find.
She will find those out.
She drives around and looks for beautiful gardens, and she is not afraid to go up and ask people. She's amazing.
And one last thing that I'll mention, I should have earlier, that I received emails from give or take 6 or 7 of the volunteers, all of whom said, sign me up for next year. So to the degree we're off and running for 2024, we're off and running pretty good so far.
It was a great garden tour.
It was a
Really
fun
good
event,
success. Yes.
So kudos again to those who helped me make it a successful day. Because, I was kind of the email guy, but a lot of other people had to participate as well, so it was very much appreciated.
It was great. It was so, we had a
Fun
blast.
day. You
And I
were-
got to meet your wife.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We're
Much better
Facebook
now.
friends now.
There you go. I think before you guys left, she had like
Uh-huh.
typed you
Yeah.
into her
Yeah,
Facebook group.
Yeah, it was
so-
great. We really, really enjoyed it.
But, yeah, seven really different, garden layouts. What a couple of people were especially complimentary of was that, oh, I just had the name in my head, the folks who passed out the map when you got there. It's not the Grants family. They passed out a map where they pointed out, this is here and this is here. And folks who were there.
Oh, the
really-
ones that mapped their whole garden.
Yeah, they mapped their whole garden
was amazing.
and I forget the name and my apologies to them for it, but folks were saying that it was a delight to be able to just go around and go, okay, that's that and that's that. So a successful day altogether. Yep,
Okay, great to hear.
yep.
And finally, the government.
Yeah,
Try that
Mary
again?
is, she texted me right before the meeting and she is feeling very unwell, so,
Whittling it.
yeah, I can help.
So in May, we distributed both at this meeting and I believe by email, correct? We know it. Email, Robin.
They were, it was in the,
Linda.
yes, which was on my computer and.
The four policies, correct?
Mhm.
The four policies that the governance committee has worked with Robin and her staff on revising and updating. Because they've been sitting around for a while and really needed it. So I'm hoping anyone with a big interest in stuff was able to look through it, look over the old versions, look over the revisions that we and the staff recommended. And today we are hoping that we can approve these changes.
Yeah, so we
Now-
have the hours of opening policy, the meeting room policy,
Yes.
public notice bulletin boards policy, and unattended child policy. We've
Now-
received no comments from anyone in the 2 months since we introduced these.
Okay. Holiday did email me some questions, but I think we resolved that, correct?
I think so, and my question really is now about how I emailed you, because I can't find our correspondence, I didn't want to rehash, because I know you answered my questions.
I might still have it.
So I don't know if I emailed him through Govenda, because that's where I would have found your email, but there's no like repository of email correspondence. I looked there, I looked in my 2 email accounts.
Not that I know of, and if there is, I don't know that I necessarily have access to
Yeah, I
private.
mean, do you know about
I don't think I've ever
email to there?
like had correspondence with anyone through
Holiday,
that.
it looks like you had emailed me, Mary and Kristen directly.
Okay, not using Govenda. So I must have just looked up here. So I wonder why. All right.
Do you want us to vote on them individually or as a package to approve all 4 at once?
Well, first I wanted to ask if anybody has any
Okay.
questions or
Yeah.
concerns about the revisions that we hope to approve today.
I guess mine was still, did you want to repeat the thing about the vulnerable adult and some of the, I don't know.
Let me open that up again.
I mean, the unattended children now includes and vulnerable adults. Oh, I think what you had corrected me on. Is that it?
I have in the unintended children policy, vulnerable I can't speak now. This is my sleep issue. Vulnerable adults are mentioned in item 9, which is why that definition was given at the top.
Okay.
Past that, I don't think we need to add the term to each entry.
Okay.
But maybe it would make sense to add one more line item here that just addresses vulnerable adults in general.
Like at the purpose, maybe in the purpose line. For the well-being of children and vulnerable adults in the library. And they would know what the policy.
Okay, we have that under okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So what Holiday's saying, so the title is unattended children and vulnerable adults, really struggling with that word. And Holiday is saying in the purpose line, we might want to add to address the safety and well-being of children and vulnerable adults in the library, correct? That's
Mhm.
minor, and I'm totally okay with that. You got that one, Robin?
I added it, yes.
Okay.
So do you want to Do you want to take that out and vote on that one separately with amendments? And if the other ones are all okay as is, we can vote on all of
Sure.
them together, or do you
So,
wanna
so,
do?
so let's do this one first, since that's the one we're making an amendment to. Are there any other issues with the unattended children and vulnerable adult? Okay.
So the readers to assume that everything you say about a child is also true of a vulnerable adult. I guess that's my concern, that everything else says an unattended minor, preventing a minor from leaving.
Well, we don't,
So,
we are, yeah,
Okay.
we're not responsible, you're correct, we're not responsible for, the main concern was,
it's basically line item 9.
yeah,
correct?
that was the biggest concern for the vulnerable adults.
This is not particularly an issue.
This never really happens that I know of,
Okay.
but, if you think we need to revisit it, we can just put it on the fall rotation and look at it again in September to vote on in November.
I was making an assumption that there were concerns and you wanted to add language. So if there aren't concerns and you just wanted to update it, I'm fine.
It's really just, yeah, it's a matter of updating, but like, there's no rush on this either, so if you wanna wait, we can wait.
I mean, I would rather get, that's a very minor thing. Agreed. That's added to, the main reason that we did a lot of work on this one was for the kids, no.
Okay.
It was really, we just wanted them to be covered under line item 9, so that was clear,
Okay.
but
I
otherwise.
think that the first, number one, the library is not responsible for the safety or well-being of any patron beyond the extent reasonably expected of a public facility.
Covers you.
Kind of covers everything.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna do just this one. Do we have a motion to approve? Holiday, second. Kristen, everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Wait, Monica's, did you get a chance to vote, Monica?
I had a question. I did, but I had a question on the public notice bulletin boards policy. We're not voting on that one right now, correct?
We're doing just children and vulnerable adults.
Just children and vulnerable adults. I vote yes on that.
So that one's done.
Okay, and I will make the small change of
With- yes,
adding
with-
and vulnerable
correct.
adults in the purpose line.
Correct. Okay. Monica, so which one was your question on? Which policy?
I also have one on
The- The public notice bulletin boards policy, I wasn't sure what happens if anything is challenged on the public bulletin board. Does it go to the director if there are challenges? Does it go to the? I don't know
Yeah.
if anything ever has or would be challenged on it. I just thought there's a lot of language about what can go up initially, but I wasn't sure if anything. Go ahead. Sorry, Robin, I didn't interrupt.
No, that's okay. I was just thinking, we are changing our current request for reconsideration form to reflect also programs and displays. So I think that would probably fall under this. That if there was a problem, that somebody would need to let us know with the form, and we would determine if that was accurate. We do vet everything before it goes up, and if we see something that we didn't put up ourselves, we take it down regardless of what it is. So that's saved a lot of issues, I think. MA is, she checks it every day, so.
Okay, as long as there's another policy to cover like what to do if people would want something reconsidered, and this, that falls under that. So, okay, thank you.
I mean, I would assume any sort of challenge to any policy would automatically go to you, right?
pretty
Pretty
much.
much,
I mean,
yeah.
I would think that would be,
I mean, sometimes they'll just yell at whoever's in front of them.
right, but
I
it's gonna
told
go up the
everybody to
library chain.
redirect. And, I'm sorry, I can't make that decision. Let me put you in touch with my director.
And there are library policies and the library staff will handle
I have
them.
some questions on 3,
Yeah, do it,
the new language on 3.
sure.
Excluding.
Oh. I didn't mean to change the policy. I meant to challenge anything that goes on the bulletin board, but yes. Was that Maybe I misheard you, Bob. I'm sorry.
No, you were right. You're fine.
Okay.
Are you okay though? You feel like we're good there as far as you're concerned?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to make sure that things, if, if someone had a request for reconsideration, that we cover that they can challenge something on a bulletin board should they need to.
Yes. This is specifically for the downstairs public bulletin board, people putting up notices about, nonprofit events and things like that. Outside community people, not the library displays.
Okay, my question
Yes.
is 3, the exclusion. I understand personal ads or notices, business advertisements. I question employment. Are you saying the municipality couldn't have a posting for crossing guards?
No, we do that. The municipality has kind of an exemption on everything.
Well, then this would exclude them though. I mean, if you just say employment, you're excluding, you're saying employment. You could say non-municipal employment.
I thought there was something, it says number 5, exceptions will be made for library, municipal and school district notices. I guess I can make that, we can make that more prominent too.
Up in 3,
Right,
okay,
but
I
it-
also question military. Military is US government. You're saying you could never have the US Army recruiting, that's government. I don't know how you can exclude that. I also don't know how you exclude research recruitment materials. If somebody from Pitt is doing a research study on breast cancer, that they can't put a notice up looking for volunteers to
Well,
contact.
we'd have to, research protocols would require that someone here is part of the approval process because they're getting the participants from this facility. So Pitt would have to contact you probably, and then you'd have to vet the study and, that's a little bit stickier, I think.
IRB issue.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I can take back.
It's the-
We don't
it's
have to
the-
vote on it tonight.
It's the specific employment and military that I question.
Okay,
I could say non-municipal employment or,
Non-municipal.
non-municipal employment would cover that, but I don't know if you can exclude military.
Why was military included in the first place in that list of things to?
Exclude.
I
Yeah,
think
why-
what
why-
I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I think when I asked MA, she said it's because they're just, you get one from every branch and they just take over the whole bulletin board. I think that's what she said. So I think it's more of a matter of space than anything.
And
But if you
also,
don't want to exempt it, then that's
I-
fine.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. That may be true, but I don't know if you legally can exempt it. Any more than you can require the US Post Office to do certain things, like file for building permits. You just can't do certain things. So that's my question.
I don't, yeah, I can find out. We can
Can
take
you
this
leave it
out
out,
of
but
the
just not put them up?
consideration.
Can you leave it out of the thing, but just not put them up? Or does everything have to? Because they take up too much space.
I really, I'll check in on that one again.
Should we table the vote on
I
this
think you should table.
one, just until we get the military question answered?
Yes.
Because I don't think any of us,
I have no
No,
idea.
off the top
It's
of my
just,
head.
it's just a question.
yeah.
there's 2 questions here though. There's the legality of it and then whether we want to include it or not. And I understand including it because I'm assuming the goal is to keep this bulletin board as community focused as possible and military is much. too broad.
It is community focused, but it's not hyper local, like we don't put up lost kitty cats and things like that.
Right, but just military recruitment or whatever is so broad.
Anybody know what the high school is required to do? Because I would think that the high school's requirements and the library's requirements are probably the same. Anybody know what the
Because of an
library?
age thing, the school would be more restricted than the library.
It's, I don't know.
Maybe they could be. That's-
I really, although we are all housed under the Department of Education, we are not considered a.
We'll look it up.
like
Let's do this.
school, so-
Let's table the public notice bulletin board until the next meeting. If you, Robin, if you could get us answers on the legality of military and why your staff felt the need to include it.
Well, the governance committee is gonna need to meet before the September
Okay.
meeting anyway, so we'll talk about it, and I will talk to staff first.
Get answers for that.
I will
then
see what I can
we
do,
Discuss it,
yes.
bring answers back forward. Okay.
And we can easily resolve the employment, just say non-municipal employment.
Right,
That's that takes care
No,
of
that's a
that.
good change.
Which one am I missing off the top of my head? Hours of operation, bulletin board, unattended children.
meeting
room.
Meeting room, that's it.
Okay, so are there any concerns with hours of opening and meeting room policy or questions?
Is it, are there changes in the list of dates, holidays, or is it just enumerating the list of holidays?
It is updated to the current holidays that the library observes. Previously, before I was here, we did not have Martin Luther King Day. We had Good Friday, I think. So that's a change. It's really just changed to reflect current
It
practice.
reflects reality. as
Yes,
opposed to
it
what's on the
reflects
books
reality.
now is not actually what we're doing.
Okay,
Okay, can I get a motion to approve these two together, package, holiday motions? Second, Kristen seconds. Everyone in favor, aye, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, those two are done.
So that was the hours of opening and meeting room policy.
So we've approved three, correct?
great.
Four, correct.
Okay, and of the fourth, we will have
just a question.
Marcia some
Can
answers
we,
for
can
you.
we exclude military?
Yes, can we and then should we? We will.
Well,
Talk
Well,
about
I'll see if I can figure out the can, and then the governance committee can decide the should and present it to you in September. Fair?
it.
fair.
Military isn't red, so that, it must not have been mentioned at all in the previous version.
No, that was a new addition.
Okay, so somebody had to recommend it. I don't.
Well, MA is the one that does the bulletin board, so
Okay.
she did most of the changes that you see here in red.
You could also, if it is true that we cannot exclude them, let's say that for a moment,
Okay,
you could possibly resolve it by saying something like, no organization or class of organizations may have more than X policies at once.
It's true.
Military being a class of organizations.
that's a,
I mean, so that if you got four of them, you could put in the two that came in first for,
Yeah.
you could resolve it that way. Something like that.
Okay, those are good ideas. 3 out of 4 is pretty good.
the 3 out of 4 is
Yeah.
great. That's more than we normally would.
We had one
approve in a
back
year,
there,
so.
we had a year.
Okay, moving on to old business. I see none listed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did anyone have any old business? Could we do that if someone just brought up old business in the middle of the meeting? Could we- I seriously, I don't know. I think we could.
Well, if somebody said, hey, you forgot X, yeah.
Right.
I also see nothing with new business listed. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Advocacy moment. Kristen, I'm gonna put it in your hands. Would you like to go first or last?
I will go first. sure,
Okay.
why not?
You're gonna lead off?
I read while we were on vacation, Mrs. Nash's Ashes, which was a very adorable, charming little rom-com. I have definitely found that summer, I'm just like a quintessential beach reads person. I had really hoped the amount of books I took on vacation and the amount of books I actually was able to read in the house with that many people was a very different situation, sadly, but it was adorable. I loved it. And TV, I just am watching the Jenny Han's, The Summer I Turned Pretty season 2 came out. She is adapting her own novels for Prime, and it's incredibly well done. And much like the awful Outer Banks that I watched to talk to my nieces about, I watched this for myself and to chat with them, and it's also very charming, so.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a teen book, right?
It is, yeah. She did the Summer I Turned Pretty series and the, To All the Boys I Loved Before. And she's very involved as the author in the production, and it's very like, I got my niece how to read books and she does not like to read. And so, I made her like follow Jenny Han on Instagram, and it was cute. We played a game at the beach and we were doing this thing and they screamed out authors and I was like, Jenny Han, and she was like, it was very exciting. So, it's the small victories in a family that's next year, we're learning about being sore losers on vacation. Which is a story for another day, but So that's why.
That's a vacation you're not looking forward to.
No, but it's clearly after this year's situation necessary, so, yeah.
Must have been interesting.
We had like a week-long, like fun competition. I've learned there is no fun, like, I mean, like fun, like popcorn eating, like games where you wiggle a cookie down your face, no, cutthroat. It was, I was like, are you actually kidding me? People are nuts. I am adopted and I'm finding my real family sometime really. Crazy people. So anyway, after that holiday.
Yeah.
All right, Holly, you got a barn, you got a barn hop over there.
Yeah. I binge watched a whole bunch of shows, Shrinking, Platonic, finished up Ted Lasso. And then I just finished a book called The Test of Wills, which I think I had already read once. I repeated that one. It was much more about character development than a murder mystery. And I almost forgot that it was a murder mystery. And then like in the 2 pages at the end, it was like, oh yeah, he died.
By the way, they done it.
Yeah, it's weird. So, but it was a good, as a character study. And then it's a series. I think I'll pick up more.
I did sign up for the summer reading program, because that's just how I'm wired. If they have it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna give it my best shot. I did read a book called The Balcony. I don't remember who wrote it, but it was a lovely story, and it's about a big old house in Paris, and the first, like 100 years of who's lived in that house, and how there's circles of their life path, brings them back together here and there. So it's just it's a nice thing to read, and I enjoyed it. It was an interesting story. And then I finally got around to reading Tolstoy's book, A Gentleman in Moscow. I loved that
That's a
book.
good one. That's his best.
Well, see, and I thought Rules of Civility, no, it's not. This is better. You can't help but just love this man. And he's in a horrible situation. But every day is a good day, no matter what in the world befalls him. And now if I see something that is just weird, strange, odd, not normal behavior, I think of some of the things that he has said in the book. I think, you know, if I just put that label on it, I don't have to worry about it another second. And so, but it's just a lovely story. If you haven't read it, probably by now everybody's read it, but if you haven't, it's a good book to pick up. And then I really like Louise Penny, and I'm reading The Madness of Crowds. That's the latest.
I'm only on number 2 or 3 of that series.
And those are long ones.
They are.
And
Yeah.
they're funny and they're real, and it's like people you
Yeah,
kind of know.
the Madness of Crowds was a little,
Well, the one before it was pretty scary.
yeah,
too.
this one was definitely had some
Well, I haven't.
uncomfortable.
In it, but is it the sort of, the one before, where it was like international corruption?
Yeah,
That was horrifying.
yes.
Does this get to that level?
No, I just, the issue with the children was very
Oh.
upsetting to me.
Well, that is
Yeah.
horribly upsetting.
Yeah. But it was still, she's amazing.
She really.
I love her.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
So I'm reading that, and I'm absolutely, in my real life, normally I'm from 2 to 2:30 or 2:30 to 3 o'clock every day. I make a cup of tea. And I cook a book. I haven't done that though for a long time, so I'm back to doing that. And it's just, I don't know, so much more civilized than some of the other things that go on. So that's what I'm doing, and it's working well into the day. As far as TV, I can't get real excited about anything of late. I did see Doc Martens back on, and I like that series.
Last season, I think, isn't it?
It is, and I wondered how long they were going to go, because I thought how old that little boy gonna be, what's his husband and wife gonna be doing? And then all of the odd characters, I appreciate them a lot too.
Mr. Large.
Well, he's a little off. I mean, I almost have to go like that. But Mrs. the pharmacist, I think just the way it's written, I just really like it. So I am happy to see that back on, and I will be watching that for sure, and that's all.
Reading, I've done my normal, David Baldacci, John Sanford, James Patterson, Clyde Cussler. I've done all the new ones. I just started, I've always had a fascination with the Scopes Monkey trial. And there's a new book out on it called Trial of the Century, and I'm only a few pages in, but I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I know over the last 2 months, because I sort of was housebound for a month, have read some really good stuff, but sitting here, I can't remember what it was, because I could pick it up and still reread it, you know? So I will look up the titles and see if there's anything notable. Watching, however, we've done a lot of our laundry list of things you watch when all the network shows are gone. Finished Ted Lasso, did 2 seasons of Succession, did Shrinking, did Barry, finished off Barry. Started the first season. Have you ever heard of the Righteous Gemstones? Okay.
It's naughty.
Oh, it's, we've done the first season of that.
It's
I have to say, and this is how bad my memory is, we did 3 episodes of something on last night that Netflix dropped, and they're gonna drop the next 5 episodes in August 3rd. I can't remember what it was. I can't even tell you what it was about. And I watched the 3 episodes last night. Oh, I'm terrible. I can pick up a book and say, have I read this? I have no idea. I mean, no. But we've got a laundry list of things to get through, and that have been on the list for a long time, and with the writers and actors all on strike, I think we're gonna make headway.
Yeah.
But I have read a couple of really good books, and I can't remember what they are, and I forgot to look them up, so I'll tell you about them next time.
I'm the nonfiction guy, which probably makes me boring. Actually, there are a lot of reasons it'd be boring. That's another story altogether. The one I finished most recently is called On Dangerous Ground, which, despite its title, looks at the conflicting policies in the South China Sea, both with China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia. And on one hand, the US tries to stay out of it, but on the other hand, seems to always find itself in it. Whether by accident or by design. I'm into my heavy-duty baseball season, not Pirates. We had my younger son's girlfriend here for about a week. She visited us from Connecticut, and 2 19-year-olds in the house. It was interesting. It was interesting. I love them both. I doubt anyone will see this, but I love them both. She's a delightful young lady, but it's like, okay, 19-year-olds do that stuff. Okay. And even when I was that age, we didn't do that stuff, kind of, nothing bad. It's just like kind of strange, I walked in one day, there were 6 teenagers in my living room. It's like, I said to my wife, who are these people? She's like, don't you know that so-and-so and so-and-so? No. I said, don't you know anything? No. So, and on a much happier note, Mark High and I were talking before the meeting. My mother-in-law's breast cancer chemotherapy and radiation is over, so a gigantic sigh of relief in our world. So, otherwise, not the same reason as you, but I am tired as well, so I can see myself rambling. I will hand the floor off to El Presidente.
Book acquisition, latest book acquisition. My favorite music writer, and I don't mean someone who writes music, I mean someone who writes about music. His name is Stephen Hyde. He's one of my favorite Twitter follows, and his articles about rock and roll and all kinds of genres of music just are incredible, and I look forward to each one he writes. And he wrote a book about my all-time favorite band called Pearl Jam and the soundtrack of a generation. So I was very excited to buy that when it came out, I think about a month ago. And I've started flipping through it, and it is excellent. And his next book is gonna be about another one of my guys, Bruce Springsteen, and the writing and creation of Born in the USA album, so I will be picking that up as well. So I'm on the nonfiction train with you, vastly different tone, but
We'll take it. I need all the allies I can get, all right?
TV, we're in on The Righteous Gemstones, we're caught up to this week of the new season, although I hear this week is really a humdinger. And if I wasn't
I've
tired,
only finished season
yeah,
one.
you're in for so many delights, Marcia, so many delights, It's fantastic.
I don't think this season is as good as previous, but I always think that about.
I actually think the first season is still the best, but it's a consistent thing.
Part of the reason I love it is I love Baby Billy. I love Wayne Goggins.
Walton Goggins,
Walton
who is
Goggins.
possibly our
I-
greatest living actor.
I just adore
Is
him.
it Netflix?
Yes,
No.
No, it's HBO.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's HBO.
Now Brandon is Max, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a mega church, a family
But
that runs a
even more
mega
exciting
church.
is just.
Oh,
Oh, I'm be talking just fine about 15 seconds.
It comes
Yeah.
back on tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, and the rest is over on Hulu and FX. My wife and I have been tearing through The Bear, which if you've heard about The Bear,
Yes.
it's as good as you've heard. If you've watched it, you know it's that good. It is like, there are 8 episodes in season 1, there are 10 episodes in season 2, so there are 18 episodes total. Season 2 just launched. We have watched 14, and I'm ready to put it in my top 20 favorite shows of all time. Like, it is
Wow.
just incredible. Just everything I want out of a TV show. Has anybody watched it yet?
no, but I was.
Do you like it,
told
Oliver?
this-
Well,
Weekend
it was
too.
exhausting.
It's
I've got through
exhausting and
3,
stressful.
Yeah, so I'm resting.
Is it
now. I'll go
about
back to
a
it.
bear?
It is about a prominent American chef at a fancy New York restaurant, I think,
Yeah,
whose brother, who owns a sort of a sleazebag sandwich shop in Chicago, commits suicide. And the famous chef who's sort of burnt out on his high-end life comes back to run his brother's sandwich shop with a series of misfits and it's a half-hour show. It's up for Emmys as a comedy, and it is funny, but it is not a comedy. It is super stressful to watch.
yeah, because the
But-
camera angles, I mean, you are in it, if you've ever worked in a kitchen where everybody is in your
Everybody's
face, you are in their face, I mean, the camera.
And as Marcia has alluded to, one of the greatest shows of all time, Justified, returns for its sequel series, Justified City Primeval tonight. I have seen all 10 episodes already and reviewed it, and it is fantastic.
Oh, okay.
And I was so pleased. If
I,
you like Justified,
oh, I
Marcia,
love
you will be.
Justified.
It's interesting how it's, it's just taking Raylan and what happens, so Justified is based on a series, some Elmore Leonard books. And for the sequel series, they took an unrelated Elmore Leonard book, took the character from Justified and dumped him into the story, basically to craft a new season of Justified. But they left Harlan County, Kentucky and the rest of the supporting characters behind. It's basically taking Timothy Oliphant's U.S. Marshal and putting him in a new setting with a new cast of characters. But it feels very much like Justified. And it is delightful.
and when you said it's based on books, I remembered what we watched last night because it's based on, it was a Lincoln Lawyer,
Yeah.
the second season. And because that's based on the Michael Conley series. The second season is based on his 5th book, which is Fifth Witness, maybe? Because the first one was Brass Verdict, and this one is based on another book specifically, which is interesting.
So I'm glad you're excited for Justified, Marcia. I think.
Oh,
you'll be happy.
absolutely.
When our TV editor said, hey, do you want to review Justified? Yes, don't,
Okay,
you
now-
don't have to finish your sentence. Yes, I want to review Justified.
Here's my question. Sometimes we will record all X episodes of something and then binge it. Should we do that or should we watch it
Oh,
weekly?
no, my advice is always weekly. I think weekly is the better TV. I think it's the better way to watch.
Well, you
TV.
have to realize there are some of us who don't remember it.
The thing is, here's the other thing too, like I am a very online person, so it's fun for me to get on social media and talk about episodes and everyone's on the same episode and you're debating and you're hashing out. I actually when I see things early, which I don't see, I mean, it's 1 or 2 things a month, but I lose out on that, but normally I like weekly better. 2 tonight, I think the first 2 tonight.
It's 2 tonight, yes. Yeah,
No, don't say it, won't watch.
okay. And we finished, I hate to admit watching this, but we finished the end of the Blacklist, which if anyone followed that one.
God, that shows up like
I know it
170
was,
years.
but in the way it ended,
All right.
it was, it was interesting.
God, that shows like 170 years.
Yeah, I think it was 10 or 12 seasons. Yeah.
Okay, first I'm gonna put a plug in for the amazing displays upstairs. One of them is about vintage British mysteries from 1920 to 1950, and they just purchased a bunch of these from British Library Crime Classics from Poison Pen Press, so they all get these gorgeous covers. This is a person that wrote like 3 mysteries in 1930 or something. So, and it's about a murder on the London Underground, so I'm super excited to read this. I haven't started it
It
yet.
would appear that Kristen's gonna check out all of them tonight.
Yeah.
You know what, they put it up today. I went up there at
That's right down my
about 6
street.
o'clock
It's right down
and
my
it's
alley.
half empty already, so
Holy.
it's, yeah, their displays are amazing. They do such a good job. I've slid back into Regency
Oh,
romances.
Nice.
I was getting out for so long. I was away from the Regencies and I was back in.
It's summer.
Yeah, I guess that must be
I
it,
thought
yeah.
mysteries are for the winter and.
So I'm reading,
romances for the
well, I am
summer.
reading a Regency mystery series by Grace Burrows. She's Lady Violet Mysteries. And then I'm reading Mimi Matthews and Erica Ridley right now. As far as TV goes, I finished Ted Lasso, which I just adore Ted Lasso.
So do I.
It just so
I know.
calming. Like, I don't know, I love it. And the other thing I watched all except the last 4 episodes of, and if you have watched it, you'll know why, is The Great. It's about Catherine the Great, and it's billed as an occasionally true story. So they very loosely taken some names and the setting for Catherine the Great, and it's just wild and it is so much fun. We just die laughing.
What is it on?
Oh, gosh.
'Cause
I'm not
I
even
haven't
sure.
heard of it.
Someone else just told me to watch.
I'm gonna have to look it up, unless you know, Bob.
I'm
You know
just-
this
I
stuff.
don't know. I don't think I don't.
Did
I
you
can look it
watch
up.
the Bridgerton prequel?
I haven't yet.
I haven't watched any of it. I read all the Bridgerton books and I watched
I
the
like
first movie or TV or whatever, and I just didn't like it. Like, I don't know. It's on, looks like it's on Hulu. It's got, one of the Fanning girls is the main character, but it's just really, really, really well done. Okay, Monica, you're up.
Right. So I, in June, I took a short course on Afrofuturism. In the short courses, we read a novel a week. So we read Black God's Drums, The Deep by Rivers Solomon, and then we read the Binti trilogy, which was fantastic, but also problematic in many ways. And then right now I'm taking another short course on post-colonial literature. And last week we read The Reluctant Fundamentalist, and this week we're reading The Namesake. And then, so those are the short courses. We read a novel a week. For the regular courses, we read a novel, a book, or a collection, a play or collection of essays every other day. So like you have 2 days to finish each of these. And those are exhausting. The last one was in June, was on American humor of the 18th and 19th centuries. So a lot of things that I didn't even know existed. A lot of contemporaries of Twain, or antecedents to what we think of as the really great American humorists. And then right now I'm taking another one, and it's just comparative literature. And so we've read a couple of books for teaching writing. Peter Albo's Writing with Power, and Elaine Showalter is Teaching Literature, and Bell Hook's Teaching to Transgress. And then we are also reading Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. And then we've read Kate Chopin's The Awakening, and another it was Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God. So those were some of the really memorable things that I've read over the past month and a half, but it's all paying off because just yesterday I got notice that I was promoted to associate professor. So all the reading and work is paying off.
That's great.
That's excellent.
That's awesome.
That is.
I do recommend, if you've never read any Afrofuturist works, to pick up some of those. They're really incredible, and they help you to rethink a lot of things like the Middle Passage, or rethinking worlds without slavery, worlds without transatlantic slavery, and it falls in line with things like the Black Panther movie. That would be one of those, like an Afrofuturist film. So if you've
I
never
think-
read any, I do recommend them.
I think we're gonna have to get you on the podcast to talk about that.
Ooh, you have a library podcast? I don't think I knew about that.
Yes, we do. You can find it on our website. Should be right on the main screen. Let's see.
I think they would be particularly
Shelf motivated. And it's Sharon Bruni and a couple of the other librarians. And they talk about a lot of books.
ooh. I
Yeah.
think they would, yeah, those in particular would be great for young adult or maybe teen reads. Some of them were a little bit more, but they would be great for young adult. But I do think that there are a lot of really great Afrofuturist teen reads too. Something to think about.
Okay, thanks for everyone for giving us your advocacy moment thoughts for this month. Before we adjourn, the only thing I wanted to check is make sure we're on the same page for our next meeting, because I believe I'm correct and we skipped August again.
We
Is
do
that
skip
correct?
August. The next meeting will be the third Tuesday in September,
Okay,
which is the 19th.
so everyone enjoy the rest of your summer. Don't worry about having to be here in August. We will reconvene in September and hopefully we'll see all of you then. This meeting can be adjourned.
Right? Thanks, Monica.
Yeah, thank you.